All right, welcome back. Falana's strong message to Tinubu. That's SAN Femi Falana's strong message to Tinubu on fuel, electricity, and subsidy. There's a report here on New Telegraph NG. It says President Bola Tinubu-led federal government have been urged by human rights lawyer Femi Falana SAN to resist pressure from the International Monetary Fund (IMF) to raise fuel and electricity costs. Falana, in a statement issued on Saturday, urged the government to stop implementing the risky IMF recommendations, which include eliminating subsidies and floating the naira. The senior advocate of Nigeria, who doubled as the chair of the Alliance on Surviving COVID-19 and Beyond ASCAB, said the international intruder should be questioned for holding Nigeria and the United Kingdom to different standards rather than implementing the IMF's recommendation. So, Chief, let me let you go, right? But before I let you go, this is the interesting part for me when it comes to these conversations. Most people having a conversation around all of this, either we're talking about the forex exchange, the foreign exchange, or the economy, or the price of egg that has now become 300 naira in Nigeria. Like when people are having this conversation, I don't think they really realize how much pressure, influence, or how much pressure and influence comes from all around the world, even beyond the borders of Nigeria, when it comes to how things operate. So I find this interesting. I kind of like the angle that the SAN is going, pinpointing that he understands that some of this influence are coming from outside. However, you need to be checking, the double checking before you implement some of this recommendation. What do you have to say about this, sir?
Oh, thank you very much. Let's give it up for the human rights crusader. In fact, I see him as Africa as a civil rights champion. I look beyond his profile as a human rights attorney. You only need to view the totality of the struggles that are being championed by people like Mr. Femi Falana and others, vis-a-vis that landmark book written years ago by Rodney Water, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And this last week, Mr. Falana has been in major mainstream media networks crying out loud about the downside of suggestions being made for deregulation and removal of subsidies by the Bretton Woods institutions of World Bank, IMF, and International Financial Corporation. But particularly, he was really zeroing in on IMF and the World Bank. And the panacea, they have said Africa, or Nigeria in particular, would have to embrace, remove subsidy on energy, to complement what has already been removed on fuel and other critical, sectors of the economy. And the response of the government of the day, you will remember that also another rights advocate, Omoyele Sowore, was on television on Thursday. I think that was his birthday when he turned 53 years old, and everybody was expecting him to roll out all this, the drums for celebration, and he said no, and they wanted him to comment.
Trust him.
They wanted him to comment on his freedom. He said no. He brought back everybody to the moment in history when he predicted that it would be wrong to remove subsidy and that would do nothing other than to complicate the economic woes of Nigeria.
Right.
And he was standing almost like, yes, he told everybody. He was the prophet that was ignored. He was the person that was treated like he was a political Nobody. And that now is been vindicated.
Inconsequential.
Yes,
Inconsequential.
I would not use such words on a
No,
good friend like him. And
right.
somebody,
That's what the
I mean,
Baba said. The
yeah,
Baba
insolence,
politician.
yes. They almost treated him as if his views did not matter. And at the end of the day, maybe he arrived at his position through some critical thought process. And he said it's been vindicated. And that Nigeria was going on downward spiral. So thanks to people like Mr. Femi Falana, they see beyond what the ordinary folks on the street can see.
Right.
Why is Nigeria in economic dire straits? It's so simple. People borrow all kinds of money. The money is not used to stimulate production.
And they're borrowing money to service the loans.
Yeah, industries, infrastructures, and improvement on a social social spending, education, health, and what have you. So Nigeria's population is for the majority, so sick and becoming so laid back. And private education institutions have now outnumbered public institutions. Even those private educational institutions are not they are not properly, maintained. They are not properly
They
built.
can't be because they'll be for profit. They're for profit. So,
but if you're making profit on something, you have to invest on it so that its performance can be optimal. Service delivery can be second to none. It is not like that in Nigeria. You find people willing to take away from the system and returning very little to improve.
Yeah, but if you're capable of, sorry, sir, if you're capable of making profit without putting the need of the children first, if it's possible to maximize profit without putting, they're going to do exactly that. And when the other person does it and get away with it,
to allow for that is also criminal.
Right.
To allow for such a mentality, for such a mode of operation, to run a national economy, a national system like that, whether in education, health, and other facets, it's evil. That is what Mr. Femi Falana was happy on, that Nigeria must get its priorities right. And some people have expressed the sentiment that, he was trying to stir up social upheaval to instigate the populace. Does anybody need to instigate anybody that is already hungry? Honestly, we don't want to make light of this serious situation.
You're right. That's true.
What I'm saying is that Mr. Femi Falana actually nailed it, and he has given expression to the thoughts on the minds of several Nigerians, whether home or abroad. He simply, and I'm surprised that because I was almost going to be cynical about the role of Mr. Femi Falana and his well-known antecedent as somebody that has associated with many of the people who are in this administration. There was even a time he tried to run for governor in his home state of Ekiti on the platform of the so-called progressives. But now I think the wisdom that has come with his age is that he knows that these are not the kind of progressives he would have loved to float with, because he is crying like the prophet in the wilderness now, that lonely voice, or that lone voice saying that things are hard for Nigerians, and that there is double standard between what IMF, World Bank recommend for nations of Africa and what they want their own system to do in America and Europe. Africans too. I think that is what Mr. Femi Falana wants us to understand. Africans too are human beings. And you cannot operate two sets of rules when you are dealing with the human race as a unit. That would be nothing but grievous. human disaster, that would be nothing other than moral and economic hypocrisy.
Yes, so. All right. Can you? Okay, good. Just want to make sure you still hear me. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. Do me a favor, okay? As always, because we're trying to build a platform. Do me a favor. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live, and we'll be back in 20 seconds to talk more.